How that happens, it kills my video, even though I could ignore the last guy. The next call that came in killed the video I was just making, which is a total bummer, but it is what it is. So there'll be a part 2 now. Maybe that's for the better, since part 1 is all CJ7. This will be starting off again CJ7, and then we'll go into some CJ5s and try to touch base with it before I lose all my lighting out here. So, all right, so this is another stack of wide track frames. These appear to be in good shape. These, once again, these came out of the California, Nevada, Arizona region. Most factory paint still intact. They're not cleaned up. Take a look at the video I just posted, because I go into a lot more detail what I'm doing right now and why they're not clean, because I normally don't do it this way. But take a look at that video. I just posted it. It's February, I don't know. It's Valentine's Day was Friday, so whatever that makes today, 4/15, 16, I think it's the 17th or 18th, somewhere in there. So just look at today and go back and see, and you can review that video if you're looking for a CJ7 frame, because there's 2 really, really nice grade A, definitely grade A's, and I'll explain exactly why. And I will clean these, so just watch that and you'll get the hint, okay? I'm leaving for Michigan on Friday. I'm leaving Colorado, okay? I'm driving to Michigan. I'm going into Toronto. I will be hitting Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and then I might be dropping down to Tennessee. So I gotta pick something up for a customer and drop something off down there that they ordered from us. So there's a good chance I'm gonna hit a whole bunch more states, kind of in the what they consider the southern region, right? Kentucky area, Missouri, those areas. Not for sure, but a good chance. This one looks shorter because it looks longer in the back. It's not. It's a CJ7. They all are, and they're all wide track. And again, take a look at our channel. You can see the differences, a wide and a narrow, how to identify those. I'm not going to go into that right now, because really we're just going to show you a stack of 3 frames. We're going to grade them the best we can in the area that they always rust, the back, okay, and base overall condition, okay. How many broken studs are there? Or, for example, you see how there's a threaded hole here on this frame. There's no longer a threaded hole. So anything like that usually it takes the price down. Now, whether you care about messing with something dinky like this, you may not. That may be a good way to save a little bit of money. So anything that we put in here that says, hey, you got to do a little bit extra, we usually discount you for. So that's a good way to save some money. Our premium grade A frames are knocked down. They're normally about $2,200. They've been about $2,200 since 2015. I've only recently dropped them, and they're a good $400 or $500 off right now. So essentially, you almost get the free freight on it, because it costs between $500 and $750 and $1,000, depending on where you're at, of course. If I do the load, it's $500. If a hot shot does it, it's usually $750 to $1,000, depending on where you're at. Okay, but so that's something to think about right now. So my grade A's that I just put up, you know, they're 500 less, or let's see, 22. Yeah, they're in the 1,800 range, so 400. Okay, and I hate listing pricing, but I'm going to do it on this one just because of shortness of time. That's a plus 500, and that's delivered price. There's no sales tax. There's no extra fees. You get to meet my lovely face here in a few weeks, or I guess next week. And then if you miss this trip, that's okay. We deliver. We do hot shots. Our guys run out to the Midwest, East Coast, usually at very minimal once a month, and usually in our busy time of year, which is now, sometimes as often as every 10 days. So you can catch one of those trips. We'll spend a little bit more on freight, and depending on what we sell on this trip, and we're moving pretty good right now, it's that big old trailer that'll be loaded up and cleaned off here in a few days. Depending on what we sell, will determine where we go with our frames next. We had a whole bunch of these that came in out of the West Coast areas, in Nevada, Arizona area. So we were able to discount them a little bit. Normally we don't discount our frames and tubs very much. We've just always been known this is what you pay for them. And it always worked through well for people. So you save a little bit more money now than you would normally, okay? Little modifications like that. You see the holes, they're normally perfectly round, just like you see here. These ones, they clearance for something. Who knows, maybe a winch. It's hard to say, okay? That would be something we would discount for. How much? I don't know. We'll figure it out. It'll be enough to, oh, okay, it's worth it, or it won't be. Okay. You can see like bolt holes here, nice clean, and then you got broken studs over there. Again, anything like that, you're gonna see when I clean this thing up. And again, watch that other video. I'll show you that and how we're doing that. Hopefully I'm not boring you to death by beating the dead horse right now with the way we're doing this. I ran out of time, okay? So I got 2 days left before I leave. And it is insanely busy out here. 200 plus phone calls a day. To pause from our phone calls, which potentially would be customers trying to buy things on this trip and other trips, right? To wash frames is very difficult. So I'm trying to narrow it down to what frames people are most interested in and getting those pushed to the line tomorrow first with the wash truck, okay? And then go from there. And hopefully whatever gets left over, people can buy in the next few weeks after we leave. Because once I pull out of here, I can tell you how many times people call when I'm an hour on the road and going, well, sorry, man, you missed me. It's all right. We'll help you out. We'll get you on the next load. It's just different, you know, pricing's a little differently. And usually the overall experience. I mean, I think people like meeting me for the most part. I mean, maybe not everybody, but, you know, I like meeting people. So, okay. So these frames here, we'll call them B's because there's a couple broken studs here and there, maybe low A's. They'll be a good grade. You know, I've seen a couple things there, but the backs are clean on them. They look real nice. And again, these will all be re-scoped. They were scoped when we first bought them. The backs look really nice on that one. That plate right there and that plate down there kind of hide an area. So we like to pull those before. It's just a support, angle iron piece of support for that rear bumper or that rear support area. So we usually pull that kind of stuff and then get you another video. And my videos, as you can tell, I'm pretty thorough with this right now. Maybe not so much because they're not cleaned up, but we'll narrow it down to which one you want, and it will get a good 20-minute bath in 300 degrees or whatever that thing's at, 4,500 PSI, and I'll re-video it. And I'll show you just like you were standing here next to me. So that's what you can expect, okay? We'll look at all the mounts. We'll bang off all these things because they kind of can show you how clean something is. And these big old mud boots on right now, so. But anyway, my point is that we'll get those out, make sure those all look nice and clean, okay? That's it for 7 frames. So we have a decent amount, but they go quick, especially now. So keep that in mind, all right? I think that was our other one we looked at. That was that other 7 frame. I think I showed you this one, maybe. If not, this one looks like a nice clean one here as well. Should be another A. It's kind of hard to see the back on this one, but the holes look good. Nothing broken off. Yeah, this will probably be an A. And again, we got those supports, so kind of need to pull those guys and just make sure. That's an area they love to rust out in. Don't want to send you something you already have or not something that you're not expecting, you know. It's an old saying, under promise, over deliver. It's always served us really well out here. Okay, since I'm getting down to my light, let's see, viable. Let's do YJ frames because there's a lot of them in this area that we're waiting to get washed. And then we'll bounce back to CJ5s. And I think that will pretty much do it for us on our light tonight. And I'll have 2 videos up. Okay, so we have, there's an 87 and 95 Wrangler YJ frame. They made 2 of them. There's a 6-cylinder and there's a 4-cylinder. There's nothing different between a 4.2 6-cylinder and a 4.0 6-cylinder frame. They are identical. There is a difference between the 4-cylinder frame. I'm not going to go over that because we have all that already done. Go take a look at our YouTube channel. Search YJ comparison if you like, and you'll find that. A, B, and C, okay? A's are gonna be beautiful, like factory paint still on them. Original, okay? No broken bolts in them, or maybe one, but nothing else, and you'll see that, okay? No rust, obviously, absolutely no rust, no collapsing, no potential rusty areas, nothing like that, okay? B's, not as pretty, okay? That might be a B over there. I don't know for sure until we get over there. That might be a B. Just the factory paint's not all the way on it. What you see there, if we get up close and personal, we will in a minute, is oxidized metal. There's no scaling, there's no surface. You're not getting layers of steel that we're losing. We're just browning of the metal. We don't have salt out here, so that's very typical on a frame that, you know, maybe on an area had fuel spilled on it or brake fluid, and the paint came off and then eventually browned up on it, okay? So a lot of our frames have, even our old CJ frames have the original, this is original factory paint on these things. This is how they came off the assembly line. So this is a CJ5, so we'll skip this one. Now, if you already had, and you're replacing a frame, already had or wanted to have a YJ or a CJ, but in this case a YJ with a shackle reversal kit already done, this would be a good option for you because it's already had the shackle reversal done. Now, how they did it, I'm not guaranteeing that. I'd say they did it okay. I mean, the fixed mounts back here look decent. These probably need to be re-welded or re-bolted because they don't look like they did. Those usually you weld these on, okay? And it might have been a bolt-on kit. I don't know. So, but that would be included, and you would save a little bit because it's been modified. Anytime we get a modified frame, we kick a little bit off to you. So, okay, this one would still be cleaned up, so you do see it in its final. If you said, hey, I'm interested in that one, you call me, say that. We write you up an order, and then I clean it up and get your final approval. And if you say, yep, I want it, then we load it up. And if you say no, we go on to the next frame, okay? So looking at this one, because of the modification, it all automatically deducts it from an A to a B. Even if you think that is the modification of the new age, that's the best one to have, blah, 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 it doesn't really matter. We discount it because it's not original, because we are an OEM original yard. We pride ourselves on that, okay? I actually do like shackle reversals. Again, I would probably rework this one a little bit, but the fact that it has it on it already is nice. It saves you some money, it saves you some time, and the rest of this frame looks pretty clean. So we can say it's a B frame, and again, we'll clean it up and hope for the best on it, but I don't see any areas. Well, look at that. So there's something right here. Let me show you what they normally look like. Actually, that's not too bad, but they lopped off the back corner of the supports there, so that's going to deduct on the price. And then the other thing, it looks like they might have welded something here. Maybe they were trying to set it up for a different type of suspension. The original perches for your leaf springs are there, and you can see it just like that on the end over here. That's actually how they are. So it looks weird because there's some extra metal added, and those back support doesn't have the wings on them like they have here. So you're missing two of your back supports. So that actually deters that even further. That would be like a C frame. Still a nice clean frame. It should be solid as can be, but it's been modified and it's been cut on. So C grade, you save some money. This is going to be a 6-cylinder modified frame with some extra modification, okay? So we'll price it accordingly to that. And yes, you can move the motor mounts. So you have a 4-cylinder, cut the motor mounts off, it's the same frame, and move them back, okay? Let's see, they're not very heavy, but they're more awkward. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it like that right now. So it's cold out, jacked my back up the other day, trying to move something. So I did it one-handed. You can see they're not very heavy. This one's a little heavy because it's got this big old hitch on it. Disregard this one for now. We'll come back to it in a second. Okay, this is a 5 frame. This is another YJ frame. Look like the mounts. The guys put the bolts back in, so that means they pulled good, threaded good, so we got good section there. The back looks good. A lot of factory paint on that one, still intact. So this should be a nice, clean, hopefully an A frame. This is a 4-cylinder. The motor mounts are moved back on it. Does have Nerf bars welded on. We can lop those off, and probably will just for sake of loading. But if you want them, I'd be happy to give them to you. We toss those things. So, and you don't have to weld those on. You can actually see the bolt holes, but whoever put these on welded them. So everything else looks factory. I don't see cuts, modifications, but again, we'll get it fully cleaned up and do another video if somebody expresses interest in that. Otherwise, we'll leave that for another time, okay? This one here, I know there's a little bit of rust on it, so I've seen it here. So you got the back rusting out there, and the rest of this frame looks okay. There's no broken holes on it. It's a 4-cylinder. It's going to be a C grade because of that one issue in the back. We're going to deter, the frame from here back all the way back into this area could be an A. I mean, it's not as pretty as our other ones. It'd probably be a B, but because it's got that area blown out on it, this is going to be a very, very cheap frame. I almost don't even like bringing these with me. For one, I just don't take as much pride in this frame, even though I know it's still a good frame for somebody out there and it's cheap. It takes up a lot of deck space, so I'll do it. You pay almost as much for transportation on this frame as you will for the whole frame. That's how cheap this one's going to be. So if you're looking for cheap frames, keep us in mind because they're definitely pop up, and we still give you a guarantee. We'll still scope it and make sure everything else looks good on it. but we definitely know there's rust at least at the back of it, and then we'll see what else comes up on it. And as far as cheap, again, I usually don't do pricing, but consistency, just for lack of time on this week, I throw out to you something like this. You're probably looking at under $1,000, maybe even less. It just depends. What that's really going to determine from 1,000 or even like 700 to 800, because sometimes we go really cheap on them, is really how many more 4-cylinder frames we have. If we get over in the stack, a pile over there, and there's 17 of them sitting over there, which I don't know if there is that many, but 4-cylinder frames, and we have, a lot of those are C grade, I'm definitely more than willing to knock off a couple $100 and move this thing down the road. So, okay, prices change over the years. This is 2025. If you message me on this video in 2030, I've been doing this for 20 years, I'll probably be doing it for another 20, and say, hey, I'm looking for this frame that was 700 or 1,000 or whatever you said it was in this video. Probably not out here anymore. Well, I know it's not gonna be out here anymore, and I'm probably have gotten even more difficult to find, so they've gone up. Okay. This is another YJ. This one looks like it had a different mount, probably an LS. I don't know what those mounts are. Had something else in it. Okay. So this one is a modified frame. You can have the brackets. I don't know what they go to. If you're putting something, you may recognize them. They look like they're somewhat adjustable. Maybe they go back to a 6-cylinder or 4-cylinder. I don't know, but regardless, that's been modified, at least in that way. Leaf springs are on it. If this happens to go to the very top of a pile on our trailer, I can include those, and I can leave them on like that. It's super heavy, especially if it's got a hitch on it. Okay, frame looks overall pretty good shape. Looks like these were welded on instead of bolt on to give your belly pan a drop and reinforce. That might be a good thing. You may not like it. Regardless, it's again a modification to us. So, this is probably a B frame for what I can see, but as we wash it, clean it up. If you don't want the leaf springs, no problem. We'll yank them off. It is a lot lighter to bring out, and this would have to go to the top of the frame pile because you can't stack with leaf springs, and we stack them upside down. So keep this in mind if you're needing, hey, I would like those springs thrown in here. Get you a price on everything, and we just hope you're on the top of the pile. And if you're not, I got to take the stuff off anyway, and then we're talking the cost of that stuff. So. All right. Let's bounce over here because I got a couple more YJs. I know we have actually a decent amount of YJs right now. Plus we have some non-pulled ones yet. I was thinking today I had a couple tubs pulled, and I don't think I do. I think I have some in the pile to pull. I don't know if we're going to have time. So if somebody calls and really emphasizes the need for, especially on a tub and a frame, I probably get my guys kick some butt and get one for you. But other than that, I'll probably have to wait till another trip on tubs because they sell so freaking fast. The frames on a YJ don't sell as quickly. Usually 6-cylinder. These are all 6-cylinder frames. There are a variety of different shapes, condition, but I would say for the most part, every single thing you see in this pile is a higher grade. It should be at very least a B, maybe the middle one is a B, and the rest of those were A. These have been gone through a lot more. They're actually been cleaned up at one time. They've just been splashed with mud and stuff. But again, if you like something, see something that kind of pops out to you, and it wasn't in that pile, want me to go through this pile, by all means, I'll re-clean it and re-video it. And then this is actually, we've actually trimmed down our YJ 4-cylinders. We had a whole bunch, we had more than that. We've sold them. So we have a few over there you've seen. And then we have these 3 left. So that's great because I think I had 20 of these things 2 months ago. That one's got a hoss of a bumper on it that has been, I originally had the guy start cutting it off. I'm like, you know what, screw it, leave it. Somebody else can have it, okay? If you want us to take it off, we will. These are B at best, and that bottom is usually a C grade. And you can see now there's some surface rust. That one's actually got a little surface on it. And it's still solid, but it's got some integrity versus your rest of them. Almost all the paint's intact, and other where they've had some things mounted, they're pretty good shape. So that bottom one's going to be in that cheaper range as well. But being that we're down to last 2 really low quality, the pricing will go back up on our C's. It's hard to make a living when you're doing them for that price and shipping them. Even with shipping, it takes a lot of work to get and look at this is doing this a long time. I know that, but people don't realize sometimes. Actually, no, I shouldn't say it. Our customers, we have amazing customers. I always have really, really blessed with the type of people we have. And even when somebody, I think the assurance is, and just a person you can talk to versus somebody saying, oh, I only deal with Facebook messages. It's like, no, get on the phone, It's an expensive purchase, you know, and we'll go from there. So a lot of times people want rolling chassis. We can do them, and we do them a lot, but it's really hard for me to take them on my trips because they take up almost a ton. I mean, look at this thing. If this thing had a rear axle under it, you know, all of a sudden now we can't stack, and they're different, okay? But there's options, all right? And I'd rather sell you a rolling chassis that's in pieces, but still give you the discounting that we do for rolling chassis than the other way. So this is another YJ. This is a 6-cylinder frame, okay? It's got a front axle still under it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys need YJ front axles, especially at 355s, I'll throw one in for you. You can have the thing. You buy a frame from me, you can have a free front 355 axle, okay? Now, I do have 307s, and I do have 410s, and those are a lot more desirable. Not so much 307s, but they are easier to sell. 355, I don't know why, but we got like 200 of these things right now in the fronts. The rears, they sell very quickly. The fronts, can't give them away. So if you need a front axle, happen to have a 355, or you have a rusty one, just let me know. If I can squeeze it on this trailer, I'll bring it to you, or we got somebody else going out, okay? This one's pre-dismantled, even though it's fairly dismantled. You can still see it in its entirety for the most part. Okay, so YJ 6-cylinder frame. All right, and then of course we'll strip it down. Everything else on it, if you need, this one's got a rough country lift kit, 8011, 8010. Those are the part numbers. It's probably a 2.5, maybe taller lift kit. Happen to have everything sitting out here, the shocks and all. Okay, make a deal on that stuff. This is a white, or excuse me, are we done with? Let me take one look here. Yeah, so we're done on YJ frames, okay? So just for sake of doing this, we're gonna combine the CJs and the YJs. And I'm gonna go into a whole different video here so people don't waste all their time. So if you wanna check out TJ videos or CJ5, which is weird that I kinda did it that way, but it's just the way it worked out, take a look at the next video. So there's gonna be 3 videos, whatever today is, okay? Is it Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. Tuesday, not Monday. I'm losing track of my days. Yes, it's Tuesday. February, the Tuesday after Valentine's Day, because I don't know the date, and I can't look at the phone because I'm videoing. 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com. All those roll bars, okay? And I got a ton of hoods. The roll bars and the hoods are the most difficult thing to ship. And I won't even ship a hood because the freight company or they'll destroy them. We will freight out roll bars. They're just expensive because they're big, even though they're light. So take the opportunity. If you need a roll bar, we have TJs and the YJ Sports. I do not have any family style. I'm completely out of those at the moment. We have a decent amount of those are all back there, the Sports. And we do have, for one time only, we have like 3 or 4 original CJ7 roll bars, which are really hard to find too. And then we have some early CJ7 and some early CJ5 roll bars. These are factory. These are really clean here too. So, okay. That's it. 303-666-9020, partsbreakers.com. Take a look at the next video if you need a TJ frame as well, or maybe all you need, or a CJ5, or know somebody that might, and happens to be, remember, Colorado, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana. I know I'm not saying these in the right order. Toronto, I'm heading up there next week. And then possibly going down to Tennessee. That's not 100%. I'm trying to avoid it, but if I end up with this guy that I'm swapping some stuff out with, then I'll be down there as well. Okay, so those are the states I'm going to be going out in, and then I'll be coming back through, and then from there we'll be doing hot shots like we normally do. And usually at this time of year we're running a hot shot every 10 days. You pay a little bit more money for them than you do